Today, the Detroit Police Department announced new efforts to try to curb gun violence, teaming up with federal officials and community leaders.
This comes after a particularly violent weekend with 5 shootings in just over 24 hours, leaving 5 people dead. Now, Detroit City Council member Mary Waters is proposing turning some popular areas downtown, including Hart Plaza, Spirit Plaza, the Riverwalk, and Greektown, into gun-free zones.
Joining us right now are the NRA board member and firearms instructor Rick Ector, and also former Democratic state rep Sherry Gay Danyogo. I wanted to make sure I was really close. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate you for being here with us. What are your thoughts on these proposals?
Thank you. First of all, my heart goes out to the families that dealt with all of the shootings that took place this past weekend, and certainly the loss of the guard down there. So my condolences to the family. I applaud Council Member Mary Waters in taking a very matriarchal role in saying enough is enough. The violence has to stop. And so to continue allowing the opportunity for violence to exist, we know that summer's approaching. And so I applaud her leadership in looking for ways to address this. I do believe more details need to come forward in ensuring that legally these gun-free zones can be applied. We know there certainly will be pushback, but we have to do something because these are areas where children, families, seniors are seeking to try and find some measure of recreation. Why do you need a gun at Hart Plaza? Why do you need a gun to walk the streets of Greektown? It's very important that we put measures in place to ensure the safety of all of our residents, regardless to where they are, whether they're in Detroit or they're coming to visit Detroit. We want to make sure that our city is safe.
Now, Rick, until those details are sussed out, what is your reaction in general to the concept of gun-free zones downtown?
Well, my reaction to gun-free zones is that the whole concept is misguided. If you could somehow prevent bad guys from having guns in places that are designated gun-free, that still presents a danger to the public on their way to participate in recreation to these gun-free zones. Let's assume that they could actually make it gun-free. Well, people who are going downtown to recreate and to see all the sights, they will become defenseless victims when they park their cars or otherwise make their way to these venues, and conversely, when they leave these gun-free zones to go back home. Plus, it does nothing to reduce the incidence of violence, however it occurs, wherever it happens in the city of Detroit and in the close areas in which people congregate, especially in large numbers. And then two, I think it's a slap in the face to everyone that isn't downtown. We deserve the right to be protected wherever we may legally be. And then, of course, there are going to be people who are going to recreate outside of downtown. They also need to be protected. We allow more gun laws. We're only going to have more gun laws because they are not going to work. They're going to be failures, and they're going to look to say, well, we need even more gun laws. Let's stop now. Let's address the root causes of violence and ensure that we don't need to come up with these out-of-the-box, unconstitutional laws that are not going to work. It's failure.
Now, you say it won't work. What do you think would work? Because like Sherry said, people want to make sure that they can feel safe and go places without having that looming over them that something could get violent at some point.
Well, it would definitely be something more expansive, more broad than just erecting a couple of signs and say, don't bring guns here. Let's look at the causes of violent crime, whether it's done with a firearm or whether it's with a knife or whether it's some other blunt object. Let's look at some of the more difficult problems that Detroit has had throughout our history, whether we're talking about homelessness, whether we're talking about joblessness, whether we're talking about the breakdown of the family, people who lack the tools to effectively communicate with one another, and of course, crime. We need to address crime. Taking guns away from law-abiding citizens in certain sections of town will not address or change anything.
To Rick's point, Sherry, do you think the type of person who is going to commit a crime with a firearm, are they really going to pay attention to a rule like a gun-free zone?
We are absolutely right. And this is one area where I struggle. I know that in many instances, those who are committing crimes with weapons certainly are unlicensed. And so the willingness to just not bring those illegal guns into the environment is problematic. And yes, as a former Detroit public school teacher, as a former school board member, I realize it has to start a lot earlier. We have to start addressing the root causes by making sure that we provide mental health support and normalizing mental health support in our schools, in our churches, in our community, in our leadership. And it's about time that we come together on both sides of the aisle to realize that this is a non-partisan problem. This is a bipartisan issue where we have to come together and find solutions. When bullets leave a gun chamber, they don't know whether it's going to hit a Democrat or Republican. And oftentimes we have this infighting that many of our young people see in our communities, in our schools, and then they pick up on this culture almost of savagery and fighting each other about things that really we should be trying to come together on. So I think we have to start in our schools. We have to make sure that we expand more mental health support issues and counseling and rebrand it in a way, because in many instances in urban centers, you have a number of people that may not even pursue mental health support, but they may come in for a family conversation, family coffee hour on overcoming our issues, our challenges, our idiosyncrasies on what caused the infighting to begin with. But we do have to pursue something to make sure that people feel safe throughout the city of Detroit, in the neighborhoods as well. But we got to pay our police officers more. We got to make sure that we're able to put them where they belong, on the street, in the neighborhoods, downtown. But we see greater incidents of violence that is happening now downtown because of the congregating. We want people to come together and have a good time, but it should be done in a way that it's celebratory and not taking the lives of innocent people.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
Historically, downtown has been the most protected area in the city of Detroit to ensure that the city bigwigs, celebrities, and all those other more important people feel safe downtown. The fact that more incidents have occurred down there have illustrated that that creates an even greater danger for the everyday citizen. No, we should not have special areas in which the important people are safe. We all should be safe. And to many of the points that I mentioned in the last question, I'm happy and I'm glad to see that she echoed my concerns for other causes, such as mental health.
Absolutely.
As far as the breakdown of the family, bad school systems, jobs, homelessness. However, this whole focus on guns being the problem is seriously misguided, and it won't change anything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go on record to say that these problems will get even worse when you prevent law-abiding citizens from being able to protect themselves. And also, they're going to be injured and accosted and robbed and raped on their way to the parking lot at these gun-free zones. And then when they leave these gun-free zones, going back to their cars. So you really haven't changed anything. It just may not happen in the recreational area, but when people are on their way to those areas or coming from, yes, the same crime and the same problems will be there to greet them.
All right, well, Rick Ector, Sherry Gay Danyogo, thank you both for joining us today. We will stay tuned and see as more details come out about this proposed gun-free zone.